Yeah, maybe that, but it's just that I I don't know. I don't know why, but I'm not into a lot of, jewelry, makeup. I don't do that.
No, we are
Uh,
live. Thank you.
oh,
All
no,
right. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, young African leaders. Good evening. This is Josiane Adolf. I am a law student from Cavendish University, Zambia, and I am also African Young Leaders Foundation, Zambia Vice President. And today's dialogue is very interesting, and our theme for the evening is command the spotlight and creating a conversation that captivates. So commanding the spotlight and creating a conversation that captivates. So this is such an important theme because it's talking about developing the skills that you need, developing the skills that you can use to effectively communicate and engage with an audience. And here with me is Mr. Hassan K, whom I'm going to allow to introduce himself and tell us a bit about yourself, what you do, and then we can move from there. Mr. Hassan K, please kindly introduce yourself, what you do, and then tell us a bit about yourself, and then we move. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's an amazing way to introduce me, by the way. Thank you. And thank you for hosting me today. My name is Hassan K. I'm a Sierra Leonean, and I'm the founder of the Dama Tribe Company. We help people in every part of the world to first discover purpose, develop purpose, and then deploy it. Because for us, we believe that the most important thing in the world is you finding your purpose and working on it. Everybody, we believe, was born with a special gift, trait, or talent that you're supposed to offer to the world. Because purpose in itself means solution. So if there's any problem in the world, it simply speaks to the fact that there are certain number of people living in the world outside purpose. And the only thing that we believe that can give us as human beings fulfillment is purpose. So that's why we created the Dharma Tribe Company to help people discover purpose, develop purpose, and deploy it. And of course, I've got 5 books, and today I'll be speaking principally on the one, own the room or watch it fade, how to connect, engage, and leave a lasting impact.
Thank you so much. So, Mr. Hassan did mention that he's an author of five very, very good books, and one of the books is On the Room or Watch It Fade. Now, the I'm thinking, and everybody else is thinking, why the title On the Room? What does it mean to own the room? Why did you choose that specific title?
Uh, the age in which we're living now, for me, what I think when I create programs, conferences, or seminars, is how I can catch the readers or the audience attention, because now people don't have time to spend a lot of time reading. So I have to here own the room, it caught your attention because you'd like to know more. That was the secret. I think if I use own the room, it's a bit more unique compared to other titles and will catch the readers or audience's attention. But what's the meaning behind own the room? I think we've all have had experiences where we walk into rooms or different places. So own the room doesn't specifically speak to a particular sex, it speaks to our daily conversation. How do we in our everyday conversation so that we can truly connect with other people? It's not about talking, it's about truly connecting to people, make them feel safe, make them feel heard, make them feel valuable. The phrase own the room or watch it fade speaks to our ability to win every everyday conversation and truly connect with people, not just superficially, but in a deep own the room or what it feels, how we win our everyday conversation so that we can truly connect with people.
All right, thank you so much. So, On the Room is about truly connecting. It's communication is about connecting, and of course, being able to persuade your audience. And so, my next question is, what inspired you? to write on the room or watch it fade? Why did you want to write a book about owning the room and capturing the spotlight? Why specifically? What inspired you specifically to write that book in specific?
Oh, that's a good question. I think I'll give you an example of what happened quite recently. So I'll be doing a program in 2025 I call Crush the Stage, where I'll teach high school students on how to command the stage and leave a lasting impact. But I will not be their trainer because I have a lot of people that I've trained over the years. So I pick a few of them and call them so like we can meet up for a meet at a particular restaurant. So while we were sitting, first I called them and I sent a text message to them. I was like, hey, can we see tomorrow around 5 at so place? Without telling them the importance of the meeting or the purpose of the meeting. That would be the right word to use. Without telling them or letting them know the purpose of the meeting. So it was on a Saturday or there at 5. So while we were talking and I was explaining to them the purpose of our meeting, and I asked them, how do you all cope with social media? How do you view social media? And the one interesting response that I had was like, social media is for just if it's only for us to like talk to people. It's not us being our real self. So everything we do on social media is to fake it. So I asked them, do you struggle on social media? Do you still feel lonely despite we're all connected with Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, and the rest of the other things? And they said, yes. They say we experience depression, we experience anxiety, we experience loneliness. And it is not only unique with Sierra Leone or those specific amount of people that I talk to or my trainers that I talk to. That's the research speaks to it, the data speaks to it. We have increased amount of anxiety attacks, increased amount of loneliness. So I said to myself the question, if we have Facebook, we have WhatsApp, which were made with the intention to help connect people from different part of the world like we're doing now, why are we still experiencing an increase in loneliness? We're experiencing an increase in anxiety attacks, and we're also experiencing disconnection. Then I found out that one of the key reasons, like John Maxwell mentioned in his book, that everybody communicate but only few people connect, is that we're unable to connect with people, because what social media help us do is to connect superficially, surface connection. But connecting, human connection goes way beyond surface connection. It requires vulnerability, authenticity, and depth of connection. So I help people who believe in me and my work understand that we can go from surface connection to deep connection. And there are certain things that are required to master, certain techniques and methods that we are required to master so that we can understand how we can connect deeply. Because as human beings, we are all social creatures. We're made to connect with people, not on a surface level, but on a deeper level. The picture we post on social media doesn't say anything about us. How are you doing doesn't say anything about us. How can we move from how are you doing to how do you feel emotionally at this moment? Because what we put out is just a mask. How can we go behind the mask we're wearing today and connect with you, our fellow human beings on a deeper level? That's why I wrote the book On the Room or Watch It Fade, and I specifically focus not only on the communication aspect, but also on the connecting aspect. How can I be vulnerable with you? How can I show empathy to you? How can I meet you and show a level of kindness to you so that we can all connect on a deeper level? That's exactly why I wrote the book. So it's not about connecting, it's not about communicating or talking to people. It's about connecting on a deeper level. And to connect with another person on a deeper level needs one key thing, which is vulnerability.
Thank you so much. So you wrote the book simply not just about communication, but also about connecting on a deeper level. And
Mm,
I recall you
mm,
mentioned something
on a
about
deeper level.
authenticity. Yeah, yeah. You mentioned something about authenticity and that people fake it nowadays. You find that on social media, I'll post something, but not necessarily that's not exactly what I am or what I'm trying. because I'm trying to copy from somebody else. So people are faking it, and they're also bringing that into their communication, into the way they speak. So personally, maybe I might have seen somebody I might watch
Oh,
someone's,
that's true.
and then I'll try to act that way.
Mm-hmm.
So you talked about authenticity, right? So how important is authenticity in communication? And yeah, how important is authenticity in communication? How important is it for me to be myself, to be vulnerable, to show that side of me that only I have? How important is that? Because in this generation, it seems it's not that important. People are faking it on social media. If you're seeing somebody who's, doing so well, you're trying to copy what they do. But is that okay to bring in somebody else's style into your communication? Or how important is authenticity in communication?
All right. So for start, then I'll tell you whether it's okay to bring somebody to copy somebody's style or not. So the first thing, authenticity is not only important, it is one of the most important elements in every form of communication, especially if a speaker or a communicator wants to connect with their audience. Great speakers understand that if you use authenticity, the audience will buy into you. People will not buy into what you're selling or what you say about yourself. People will buy into the authentic or the real you. Because once you're real, you resonate with me, you resonate with my flaws, you resonate with my imperfections. That's exactly what people are not going to listen to you. The always audience is listening to the same radio station, that is WIIFM, which what's in it for me. If I'm listening to you now, or the people who are listening to us now, the one thing or one question they're asking themselves, or the perception they came here with, is what's in it for me? What can I gain from this session? So the only thing they can gain is me being authentic, because that's the only thing they will buy into. So it's not only important, it is one of the most important elements in every communication, and that's exactly what is missing. People are faking it, like you rightly said, and we've lost the art of being ourselves. So what is authenticity? Authenticity is who you are at your core. Let me say that again. Authenticity is who you are at your core. Everybody is different. We're wired differently. The stories we believe about ourselves is different. The stories we've been sold is different. So who is Asanke at the core of my being? Not what I am putting on the outside, or the mask I am wearing. Who is Asanke? Now, how do I made in the image and likeness of God? At least that is what I believe, because I'm a Christian. So that's what I hold true to myself. So who am I? Because I'm made in the image and likeness of God. Who am I at the core of my being? Is I represent the image and likeness of God. What is that? God is love, God is forgiveness, God is faithful, and God is kind. So all the three, like the Bible rightly put it, the 9 fruits of the Spirit are who we are at the core. But now listen, because of the experiences we've had, most people don't love again. They see people as objects rather than human being. So when I go to speak, I just want to impress the audience. I don't want to connect with them. I only care about the message I want to tell them, and disregarding what actually they want to hear. So let me just give you an example. If I'm invited to speak to a certain number of people, like for example, you're a girl child advocate. So your perception about girl child, is it wearing, or who you are at the core of yourself, or maybe what your favorite speaker have said about girls? Is it who you are at the core of your being, or what you've had from your favorite feminist? So we only say or continue to replay the same things we keep hearing from either our mentors or the people we admire, rather than what we think on a personal level, or what resonates with us in our hearts. So we've missed the art of authenticity. So that's exactly what I want to bring back into our art of communication. People will only buy into the real you, not the fake you. Therefore, a level of authenticity which requires us to show empathy, to show love, to show kindness, to show to be real, to be authentic, It's exactly what I want to bring back into our communication phase. And then I think you asked me another question. I don't know whether I'm going too fast, but I'll take my time. You asked me another question. Can you come again with the last question, the B part of the question?
So my question was in that how important is authenticity in communication? Because you've defined authenticity.
Oh, okay, yes. I remember and you asked me whether is it good to copy from other people. Here, this is not from me. This is from Tony Robbins. He said, if you want to, you don't copy from other people, you model. So there are three things you model from people. Their physiology, that's one thing. You don't copy, you model. Copy is doing exactly as is doing, how they talk, how they use their body language, their gestures. That's copy. You want to speak like them, you want to smile like them, you want to act like them. But according to Tony Robbins, he said if you want to maintain the performance of somebody you admire, you don't copy them, you model them. There are three things he advises us to model. The first thing is our physiology, but the second thing is their mindset, how they think. How does this person think? And the third one is their beliefs system. So let's just take, for example, I want to model you. Instead of copying you, I'll try to model you. I'll try to know what's your belief system. What do you believe? Are you a positive person or optimistic person? Are you a negative person? What's your belief system? But then secondly, I have to model your physiology. I also have to model your physiology. And then your mindset. How do you think about things? What's your process? So I will not advise people to copy, because copying somebody simply means to duplicate. You miss on being the original person. And you know, once you photocopy something, it's not the original. But what you have to do is to model them. What do you have to model? These three things: their physiology, their belief system, and their mindset.
All right, thank you so much. So if I got what you said right, you talked about authenticity is who you are at the core. Who is Josiane at the core? And you also talked about people no longer want to connect with the audience, but they want to impress the audience. And you ended with saying that we should duplicate other people, we should not copy other people, but we should model them. Like if you are inspired by someone, instead of duplicating that person into yourself, model them. Like how are they thinking? How are they, you know? Yeah, thank you so much. That was indeed amazing. And so on the same topic of connecting with your audience, I just wanted to ask, how do I grab the attention of my audience? How do I actually get to how do I get to connect with my audience? How do I get to grab their attention so that they listen to me and I actually leave that impact that I want to leave? So how do I grab the attention of my audience, and how do I get to connect with them? Because you mentioned that it's important to connect, and you also mentioned that you wrote on the room or watch it fade simply to bring back that connection that people have disregarded. So how do we now connect with our audience? How do we grab their attention and connect with them on a deeper level, and not just to impress them?
And I think that's amazing. The way at which you listen is applaudable. Congratulations. So here's how I want us to take it. I want to give people a framework on how to do it. But the first thing is to disrupt what they think or believe. There's an old the way in which people do things. I think it was recommended by Dale Carnegie. Dale Carnegie is one of the most important people in the world. He's contributed a lot to the world of public speaking and communication. He has something he's always train out speakers on, like tell them what tell them what you're going to tell them and tell them what you told them. The problem with that particular framework is that you only care about what you want to tell them, not what you want the audience to listen. So what I would tell every speaker is think from the perspective of the audience. It is not about what you want to tell them. What you want to tell them might not be interesting to them, or will not create the level of impact you want the audience wants. So you have to think from the position of the audience. So you ask the first question. If I'm going to, if I were the one listening, what will I be expecting this particular speaker to say to me? So for example, if you're speaking on as a girl child advocate, you're speaking on girl child rights and to education, the first question you ask while preparing your message is, if I was the audience or if I was part of the audience, what exactly will I want this speaker to talk on or to talk about? So once you do that, it's called empathy. You've learned to put yourself in the position of the audience. So now there are several thoughts that have to come in mind. Maybe I want the speaker to speak on the importance of girl child education, how girl child education can transform the world. So because you've got this one now, you have to craft your message. The first one is starting with the hook. What to say to hook the audience in the first 5 seconds, because it's quite important. We're living in a world of distractions. People go with their phone, they tune into Facebook, WhatsApp, and so according to psychology, we have like 5 seconds now, 9 seconds to get the attention of the audience. So the first thing I recommend is telling a personal story, because stories sit at the heart of communication. Why is stories important? Personal stories important because you let the audience think, if the speaker was there at this position, survive this particular thing, I'll survive it. Or maybe this speaker's story resonates with me. So you can start with a story. But another thing you can do is start with a quote, a profound quote. You can start with a profound quote. Most of the quotes people know. So, for example, I was on a tour before I started my book tour. I was doing a tour on financial education. I was doing a tour on financial education, and so as I'll always start with a quote like this: romance there's no romance without finance. So automatically it draws the audience attention. There's no romance without finance. And they all burst into laughter. They always wanted to know more. So you can start with a profound quote. But third, statistics, data. For example, if you're speaking on HIV, if you say 70% of young adults are living with HIV, which is 3 out of 3 people, 2 among the 3 people are living with HIV. That's a startling statement, isn't it? It draws the audience's attention. So you can start with a story. You can start with a profound quote like there's no romance without finance. And then you can use a startling statement or a data fact. Because once you use this, you automatically draw the audience's attention. The mistake most speakers make is that they board the audience's attention with maybe their degrees or what they achieved over the years. People literally don't care about you. Nobody's coming to listen to me about what I've done, whether I'm a student or this or a graduate. All those things I have achieved is for myself. People are not impressed. They might be inspired by it, but that's not exactly what they've come here to listen to. What they've come here to listen is for me to show techniques and tactics on how to own every room they walk into, how to win every conversation. So that's the most important thing why I'm here. So my purpose as a speaker is to try as best as possible to get the audience's attention and pass my message. So that is it. So you can start, that's how you hook the audience's attention. Now, how you connect is very, very important. One thing I've always asked speakers to do is to share, is to be vulnerable. It doesn't mean because you're a speaker, you're perfect. You should learn to share your flaws, your imperfections, because with that, people learn to say, okay, this person is real. So if this person is real, I can connect to the authentic person. I'll give an example. I went to a school lately, and when I was having a session, it was a girls' school. I was having a session with the students, and I asked them, how many of you have watched pornography? And it was like everybody was saying, no, I've not watched Asanke, I've never watched porn. Each and every one of them denied. Yes. And then everything. I said, okay, so I start with myself. My name is Asake, and I've watched porn. For so many years, I watched porn and I used to like it. I like the sound, I like how they scream. And then I asked them, have you watched porn? The same people who denied a few seconds ago, they were all like, yes, Asaki, I've watched porn. But it was my friend that introduced me to porn. The other said, yes, I still have porn videos in my phone. And then automatically I realized that, okay, it was because I was vulnerable to them. That was why they had the courage to speak out their truth. So vulnerability is very, very key, but also empathy. There's a difference between empathy and sympathy. Sympathy is just like I feel sorry for you, but empathy is me putting myself into your position, like wearing your shoe, learning to feel how you feel. So speakers should learn empathy. For most speakers, they only care about what they want to tell the audience. In my book, in a particular chapter in my book, I talked about how to read every room you go into. You have to make eye contact with the audience to see whether they are at a particular emotional state to receive you. So if you have to show empathy, I'll give you an example of how you show empathy in the room. So now if I walk into a room full of gay or lesbian, I know I'm a Christian, and then in my own religion does not permit gay or lesbianism. So how do I walk into that particular room to communicate with them? The first thing I should do, now I have never been a gay, I can't share the experience, but also I've done one or two things that goes in contrary with the belief of God or the commandment of God. So I'll do like this. Let's just take porn for a reason. I'll start by sharing my particular story of how I struggled with porn and how I overcome porn. And then I admit that I know it might not be easy for them. And I show empathy. I know how you feel. I know how it's like for you to be isolated. But let me tell you, I feel with you. I see you. I've not come here to condemn you. But here is my message to you. I know if I can go through the struggle of porn and overcome it, I think you too can overcome the struggle, what you're struggling with now when it comes to gay or being a lesbian. Here's the message of hope I have bring to you. What I have done is to first admit that I am not a perfect person. I have come short of God's standard. But then, secondly, I show a level of empathy and kindness. I put myself in their position and share their struggles. And then I can now tell them, because I've broken down their barriers, they are willing to listen to me because they don't see me as a speaker who has come to judge them, but one who has come to first show empathy with them, resonate with them, but also share my belief and message of hope with them. And then we have to, another very important one, we have to listen. I know you've had this phrase that you should listen to understand rather than listen to respond. True or false? Have you heard about it? Listen to understand rather than listen to respond. Have you heard about the phrase listen to understand rather than listen to respond? You've not heard about it yet?
No, no, I haven't heard about the same.
Okay. So it's a popular phrase. Most speakers use it that we should listen. You haven't heard about it. So you should go. I told you this. I'm not only here as a speaker, I also want to learn from you. And one thing I've learned from you is your effective listening skill. That's why you're not saying anything but your body language, the way you smile, the way you open up, the way your shoulders are. I've seen all these body cues. I'm okay. She's very, very receptive, and now I feel so comfortable to communicate to you. So we should learn, we should go into every conversation listening. Now, there's a difference between talking and listening. Talking is just mere words. An exchange of mere words is what we call talking. But now, listening takes you from talking to connecting at a deeper level. So, what is effective listening? Effective listening is intentional listening with helping people, making people feel valued, being vulnerable to people, and also being intentional with your presence. So, for example, we're on this live. If I am speaking to you now and then you are holding your phone, or you're speaking to me, I am holding my phone, you feel bad, true or false? Because it's an automatic turn off. Relationship cracks, they go left, friends go left, the world is set apart, we're disconnecting by the day simply because we cannot truly be present and intentional about where we are at the moment. We don't listen. So because we don't listen, it's quite difficult for people to connect with us. So it is very, very important. So first, we have to share our personal stories if we want to connect with people, but also we should be empathetic. Empathy is very key. Vulnerability is also key. But one of the most important ones is listening, effective listening, showing people that you care, you value them, and you are intentionally present with them.
Thank you so much. So, intentionally listening, intentionally being present is what effective listening is about. And also, start with a quote. If you want to grab the attention of the audience, start with a quote, start with statistics, start with your personal story, empathize with your audience, try to put yourself in the shoes of the audience. Because Mr. Sanke mentioned that people are not here for you, they are here for what you're here to give.
Yeah,
So, put yourself in the shoes of the audience.
exactly.
Try to understand what they want to hear from you. So now, Mr. Hassanke, you said something about when you enter a room. You said of your book talks about when you enter a room,
Reading the room.
right? Maintain eye contact. You
Yes,
said eye contact is part of non-verbal communication, right? So you also mentioned to say if we're talking holding my phone, that will be signaling something, and so that brings to say body language or nonverbal communication is very important. It's very crucial for communication. So now, what are some of the common non-verbal mistakes that we should avoid in communication to make sure that our conversations are captivating, they're impacting, and we're connecting with the people we're talking to? What are some of the non-verbal communication? What are some of the non-verbal gestures or body languages that we should avoid? When we're in front public speaking in public, what are some of the things that we should avoid? Some of the the body languages that we should avoid when we are in a conversation, or when we're presenting, or when we're talking or having a conversation. What are some of the non-verbal communication that we should avoid? What are some of the non-verbal cues or non-verbal gestures that we should avoid?
it is important that it is important for all to know that communication is not only about speaking. 90% of our communication is made up of speaking, but over 70% or so is made up of body language. People understand our body language more than they understand the words we say. So the first thing is hand gestures. Most people don't know how to appropriately use their hand in communicating with people. What one of the common ones I've seen over the years with most speakers, especially in my country, is how they point fingers in order to emphasize their point. They like to do this, to do this. Every culture is different. For example, somebody was telling me few weeks back that in other parts of the world, there are some countries, if you want to greet people, you kiss them on their jaw, you give them peck. In my country, you don't do that, especially if you're not that close or intimate. You don't do that. So for us Africans, pointing fingers on people is a display of rudeness or a lack of respect. So therefore, you don't point your fingers on people. And also hands in the pocket. For that's one of my how will I say, my pet peeve. I like putting hands in my pocket, but not actually when I speak to people. Is I've noticed that normally when I'm in church. So there's this particular lady in church that will always drag my hands off my pocket. Like, that's not a respect for God. You don't put your hands in your pocket while worshiping God. So I've noticed that putting your hands in your pocket doesn't show a level of respect for people. It comes out as you being braggadocious or you being proud. So I don't encourage, especially for the people that I train on public speaking and how to communicate authentically, I don't encourage them to put hands in the pocket. Most people avoid eye contact. For the people I've trained over the years, they tell me, for example, I trained Kofi. That few years back, I think 3 years ago, I trained Kofi on how to have an authentic and effective communication. That was my first training they joined online. Kofi, Emmanuel Jato, and the rest of other people outside living in different parts of Africa. So one of the things is making eye contact, but most people avoid eye contact because it's either they complain that they're shy or one or two things. But now if I make eye contact with you, it sends a signal that first I'm paying attention to you, and then you wouldn't have any option but to pay attention back to me. So we shouldn't avoid eye contact because it is very, very key when we're communicating. If I make eye contact to you, you know I am paying attention to you. And everybody loves when people pay attention to them. True or false?
It's true. It's very true, especially women. We love attention.
You like being paid attention to. True or false? True, right? So that's why eye contact is very, very much important because everybody loves being. Yes, yeah, exactly. Everybody, myself, I love attention. Yeah. So eye contact is very, very important. But then the last one I like to leave with them is how we slouch on stage. Most speakers that I've witnessed like to stay behind the lectern. Once they're there, they slouch over the lectern. Now I think it is important for us to move on stage. I always ask my speakers to take at least 2 steps. They should move 2 steps because once you move, body movement draws the audience's attention. They feel more connected when you move on stage. Don't stand behind the lectern as if you are a robot. You should move your hands. You should take a little bit of walk around the stage. Yes, exactly. Yes. And then the final one, I believe this is what I believe. I'll just give you this one as a because I know it's common too. Um, I believe PowerPoint kill. The devil is in the PowerPoint. One more speaker, if you've witnessed now, like we spoke privately, I'm not holding any books here. I'm just talking to you off what is in my mind. Exactly. Because I want to truly connect with you. I want everything I'm saying to come from my heart. I don't want to try to sound perfect as the best public speaker in the world or the best public speaker in the country or the best communicator in the country. I might made mistake. But this is me showing others that you don't have to be perfect to share your voice or your authenticity or your truth to the world. I might have made so many mistakes, missed my grammar, or other stuffs, or maybe I haven't said things the perfect or correct way. But this is me saying to people that you don't have to be perfect. However, people care about the things you have to say to them because maybe it's not everything I've said here, but one or two things that I've said might be important to somebody listening to me now. It might help somebody come off their comfort zone. So what I tell my speakers is to rehearse or practice your speech by heart. Prepare your speech, go through it, feel it emotionally. Because even in my book, I spoke about emotional intelligence. Feel it emotionally. Because after that, you will not be stuck on reading from the paper. Once you read from the paper, you first miss eye contact, you will not be able to connect with the audience. So you have to prepare your speech because preparing your speech beforehand shows a level of respect for the others and that you care for the audience. You cannot come to the audience without being prepared. You just write down your speech and then you read the speech. And what is so irritating is that most speakers can't even read well from the paper. They have problems with pronunciation. They have problems with pronunciation. They have problems with reading. They have problems with reading aloud. So all these things brings problems. So that's why I always say I believe the devil is in the PowerPoint. I ask people to practice their speech beforehand. I don't think you should share more than 3 points. You have your 3 points you want to share. You have your introduction. You have your closing with a bang. With that, it is okay. Rather than writing your speech on paper and then focusing on the paper, losing your audience attention. So these are the things I would advise people to avoid.
Thank you so much. That was amazing. That's writing my speech on paper. I'm a victim of that. I do that all the time. But I'm going to
And you always come out so very, very bold. The audience member say, who is she? Who is she even talking to? There's no eye contact. She
oh,
doesn't
yeah,
even care about
yeah,
us.
yeah. Thank
She
you
doesn't
so
even
much
look
for
at
that.
us.
Hand gestures, pointing fingers, putting your hands in your pocket. always maintain eye contact. So now you mentioned on eye contact, you said some people cannot maintain eye contact because maybe they are shy or maybe their level of confidence is not all that. So, and I remember you mentioned that for you, confidence is not a skill but a presence. Do I recall you right? That
Yeah.
confidence is not a skill but a presence. And now, is confidence something that I can cultivate? And if true, how do I cultivate confidence? And because the aim of communication at the end of the day is I want to persuade you into buying into what I'm trying to say. So now, is there a connection or a direct link between communication, effective communication, between persuasive communication and confidence? Is me being confident going to persuade? Is it going to be effective, bring about effective communication and persuasive communication? So is, like you mentioned, confidence is a presence, not a
It's
skill.
presence, not skill.
Yes. So can I cultivate presence? Can I cultivate the presence of confidence? If yes, how? How can I cultivate confidence as a public speaker? And also, is there a direct link between confidence and persuasive communication?
Absolutely, yes. But first, congratulations. I think you stick to your gun with the questions. And I'd love it to come naturally from you from what we're discussing, but it's safe. That's how you've loved to do that one, and I'm okay. But before I go to the question, I want to, should I say correct you? I just want to share what I think about statements you made. Okay, I don't want to sound as come out like that correcting you. I just want to revisit what you said and then show you what I think about it. And you said the objective or purpose of communication is to persuade and sell your thoughts to other people. Okay, now if I believe in what I believe, let's just say I'm a Christian and you're a Muslim, you've come to speak to me. Whatever, no matter how you sound, how persuasive you sound, I'm a Christian. Yes, I'm a Christian. You cannot persuade me. If I'm a gay or a lesbian, no matter what you say, no matter the scripture you say, no matter how you come off persuasive or confident, I'll still not buy into you. So for me, what I believe the essence of communication is not to come out as persuasive or trying to force people to buy what they want. Even when I teach people on how to sell, I don't tell them you don't sell to people or force people to buy from you. So what is it? What is it about? Whenever I come to speak to people, my thought process is I want you to believe that I believe what I am saying, period. I don't want to convince you or persuade you to change your previous belief before meeting me. I just want you to believe that I believe what I am saying. And that's period. I'll share an experience with you. I have a large following, especially in my community, and I've dealt with so many people. I have people in my tribe that are gay. I have people that are lesbian. I have people who believe in God. I have people who don't believe in God. Yes, I have people who believe in and people dating. I have exclusive people who believe in marriage. I have people who don't believe in Jesus. Yes. So but what is one thing that separates me from other speakers, especially in my country in Africa, is that I don't try to convince or persuade them. I believe in forgiveness, but I never try to convince somebody else that doesn't believe in forgiveness on why they should forgive other people. Now, but what I try as best as possible to do is to help people understand that I believe in what I believe in. So that's the first thing. Your goal or objective as a speaker is to help your audience understand that yes, indeed, you believe in what you are saying. That's exactly what you should help them understand. That is why I don't buy into the idea of that. Tell them what you're going to tell them, and tell them you told them. But then also, confidence is not a skill, it's presence. Presence is you saying intentionally, I am being here. It's you making people feel valued. is you showing that you care about people. What people should understand about confidence is that you just don't wake up one morning and be confident and be a confident speaker. For most of the people you see, they are not even confident. How do you tell somebody is confident? Because they say their speech well? No. What I want people to understand is confidence is a byproduct. What is confidence a byproduct of? Confidence is a byproduct of competence. Competence is the skill. Confidence is the byproduct. Should I say that again? Confidence is not a skill. Confidence is presence. I am here with you. I am 100% here. I want to listen to you. I want to show you that I care. I want to show you that what you're saying is valued. But then confidence is just the byproduct of competence. So for example, if you ask me now to talk on Islam, I can, even though I am so much confidence, there so many people I've to large number of people, I will not be confident. Why? Because I have zero knowledge on Islam. But I have my friend, the one that helped me set up this Zoom conference, because I have little or no idea about this Zoom. Now he knows a lot about Islam. So always, whenever he talks to me about Islam, he's very, very confident. It's not the public speaker kind of person. It's not the outgoing kind of person or extrovert. He's very, very shy and reserved person. But when it comes to speaking on Islam, he's the best. Why? Because he has the skill, he has the ability, competence. He knows a thing or two about Islam that he can share. If you ask me to share about Islam, I will Zoom live. Forget it. But now you ask me to talk on a topic I have a level of competence on, skill or know on, so I feel confident to share my take, knowledge it. Why? Because I know a thing. So rather than on how can I be confident or what skill, mastery simply means the effortlessly doing something without the conscious use of resources. For example, me speaking live on this Zoom is effortlessly doing it without the conscious use of any resource. I don't have the book I've written here. I've not even had time to prepare because I've been traveling for the past weeks. I told you, right? Yeah. But why I don't need all those extra resources to back me up is that this is what I've been doing. This is my life, helping people to connect better, helping people to win in conversation. And I promise, if you host my friend now to talk about Islam, he will not be panicked because he know exactly what to say about Islam and what to share. So we should focus on competence, mastering a particular skill, and then from that we can be confident, because confidence is a byproduct of being competent. So what people should do is to master a particular skill. Once they've mastered the skill, they'll be very much confident to share their truth to the world, because everybody's voice matters, because we all have a purpose.
Thank you so much. That was amazing. Confidence is a byproduct of competence, and competence is the skill that we master. So that's amazing. Thank you so much. That really, really was helpful. Thank you so much. My next question is a bit on a personal level. There are people who, because we're talking about owning the room, when you enter a room or when you get into a place and you want to network with people you've never met before, and you get to be very anxious, very nervous, and you start to doubt yourself. Am I really on the level that I'm putting myself on? Can I really talk about this? So there's this self-doubt that we have at a certain point that really stops us from owning the room or from commanding the spotlight. So you find that you're doubting your competence, you're doubting a lot of things, and you're nervous. So my question is, how can I overcome nervousness as a public speaker? Because you are a seasoned public speaker, and this is for a person who, for example, is trying to be effective in their communication. They're trying to be a great public speaker. They're trying to connect with the audience when they speak. They're trying to command the room and they're trying to own the room. So now, how do you overcome nervousness the nervousness to stand in front of people? Some people get so anxious when they're told to say you are going to present in class. You're going to say this in such an assembly. So now, how do you overcome nervousness for you to master or for you to have that confidence to say, okay, you know what, I can do this, or I cannot do this? How do you overcome nervousness for you to command the spotlight and own the room?
Yes, in my book, I think I talked about self-doubt, and I described self-doubt as an internal struggle. It is not external. It is an internal struggle. It is something we struggle with within us. And I list 6 diseases that are affecting us. And one of those diseases I named is self-doubt. It is very, very powerful because it is you limiting yourself. But when it comes to the world of speaking and communicating, first, I want to reiterate a very important point, and that is own the room or watch it fade is not about communicating to large audience. It is winning in your everyday conversation by connecting with people on a deeper level, not a surface level. That's the first thing I want to be clear about. And then the issue of nervousness, everybody's nervous at a point in time. It's how you name it. So when most people are nervous and I'm set for this and that, so many examples, and I tell them, maybe you should learn how to rename it. Maybe it's not nervousness, it is excitement. If you remember, I keep mentioning the same words over and over to you that I am pumped, I am energized, and I am excited about the possibility to meet you and share my truth with the world or my take on communication and connection. And why most people think they're having self-doubt, the reason is simple. From my understanding with different speakers that I've trained, is that we focus too much on ourselves. If I focus on myself, too quickly creep in. So how I advise the struggle of self-doubt and nervousness is to focus on the audience rather than focusing on yourself. People focus, how do I sound, whether what I would say will make sense or it will cut across, or would they even like me, would they like the way I dress and all this stuff. Take your attention from you and focus your attention to the audience. Like I make mention of my friend. My friend is never nervous to communicate and Islam, his beliefs about Islam to me. He will never be nervous to communicate his Islamic beliefs to whether a million people. He's a shy person, very, very reserved. Why he will never experience nervousness or self-doubt is simply because his goal, whenever he communicates his beliefs about Islam, is to see how best he can help another person first come to the realization or knowledge of Islam. So his attention is not paid on himself. His attention is paid on how can I communicate in the most simplest way so that I can help this person understand the values of Islam. So we should take the attention of ourselves and focus on the others. The question I always ask myself, how does my meeting with these people will help transform their life? If you focus your attention to the audience, definitely all the anxiety and nervousness. Vince has a book he calls the 5-second rules. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You breathe down and you breathe out, and then you're ready. Other people will advise you to say, well, do affirmations, I am confident. It will not work to a certain extent if you focus on yourself. Speakers, the goal of a speaker, like other, I can speak better, I know XYZ, I am this, or I attended this university. The goal is to make the moment you with them, the time you're going to spend with the audience transform their life or change something in their perspective. So what you should do is, how can I create a message that resonates with the audience circumstances? So once you take the attention from you and focus it to the audience, you wouldn't have a problem to communicate your truth. But nervousness is real, though. Everybody feel nervous before going up to the stage. I don't want to call it nervousness. I call it excitement. It's just the same feeling. It depends on how you name it. It's the same feeling. There's no difference between nervousness or anxiety or anxiety and excitement. They're all just the same scene when you focus on yourself. So if I flip the coin and focus, how do I make this meeting that we're having impact or change the lives of the others? And then I'll begin to think about things to do that will help the others get better or live being a better person. So that's what I would advise. Don't call it nervousness, it's excitement. Don't call it nervousness, it's excitement.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hassan K. Thank you so much to people who've been watching us, to the ones who are watching us online. Thank you so much. We were talking about Command the Spotlight, creating conversations that captivate. And we were with Mr. Hassan K, who is an author, a transformational speaker, and it's amazing, amazing, amazing. We've come to the end of our session, unfortunately. So I'll just ask Mr. Hassan K, kindly just give us your final remarks, your final words of advice to people who are struggling with self-doubt, people who are struggling with how to effectively communicate, people who are struggling with focusing on themselves instead of focusing on the audience. Your final remarks, your final words of advice, and then we conclude.
Thank you very much. And I want to first of all start by saying you are an amazing host, very exceptional. You ask thought-provoking questions, and I truly appreciate you. And of course, I welcome invitations from you henceforth because I love the conversation. But also to the audience that are listening to me, I'll always say, purpose is an answer to a problem. And everybody was born with a purpose. And that purpose was to solve a particular problem in this world. Like my Smuron will always say, the late my Smuron will always say, when the purpose of a thing is not understood, abuse is inevitable. So we all have a thing or two, or have an area in this particular world that we can help contribute to. We all have different areas. You can be focusing on helping families, helping marriages, like you are a child rights advocate. Other people want to have a better Africa. People are fighting on climate change. So what is it that you so love, care, and are passionate about that you can help share with the world? Everybody has a voice, and I want to assure you that your voice actually matters. The problem you're having is to start. Once you begin, there comes the clarity, because clarity begins with action. So I encourage you to start somewhere, because you and I that are on this Zoom live, we are all
It seems that we've lost Mr. Hassan K, but we've come to the end of our program. We've come to the end of our dialogue episode today. Um, Amazing. It's been amazing. What did I get from this session? Authenticity is so important. It's one of the core aspects of communication. And authenticity is who you are at the core. Who are you at the core? And people are here to buy into the real you and not a fake you. So if you're inspired by somebody, just as Mr. Hassan K has put it, do not do not duplicate who they are, because that's a specific brand that they are, but be who you are, model them. That was an amazing, 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 amazing session. It's been amazing. And he ended by saying purpose is an answer to a specific problem. We were all created for a specific purpose, and there's a reason why you were created. And of course, we all want to, if to master the act of public speaking. And he mentioned to say confidence is not a skill, it's a presence, it's a byproduct of competence. It's been amazing, amazing. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Josiana Doff, and I have been your host for this evening. Our theme was commanding the spotlight and creating conversations that captivate. Thank you so much for being with us. It's till the next time we meet. Thank you